War 5 for Loki, Guardians of the Stone. Pretty much a Super Bowl. One of the most important wars of the year. This is the very first war of the season that I did not bring Mole Man. Brought Karolina, Torch, and White Magneto. Going to be using Magneto obviously for his pre-fights. We're going to take Path 1 for the first section and Path 9 for the second section. So this very first fight is going to be Shocker on Tile 1. Nothing too crazy. First special one from Karolina isn't going to do crazy damage, but the second one is going to take out almost his entire health pool. He's going to regenerate just a little bit, but we're not super worried about that. This is one of those wars where you have to check every single node and make sure there's no chance whatsoever of you dying. Because you know it's going to come down to just a death or two, whether or not we're going to get the win or the loss here. So nothing too crazy here. He's going to have some pretty potent regeneration. And unfortunately, to stand in the sun and have him stunned, you need to be somewhat in close proximity. However, the burst damage is just going to be absolute bonkers on the second special 2. So we popped an invulnerability boost here just in case he accidentally gets us with one of his special attacks. We're just going to try to stand in the sun as much as we can here. See, like I was saying there, you stun him, you stay in the sun more than possible. I got to bait his heavy here because I really don't want him to launch a special medium ones and get a chance to go unblockable at all. So thankfully right there, I can get that special one off, push him to 2 bars of power. Just going to bait that, stand in the sun a little bit, and one more special 2, and this guy will be done. Just right there. Boom. Wow, that's awesome.
Dang!
So this next fight, we're going to be using Torch against Kindred on Tile 10. We needed to bring the White Magneto pre-fights and use the Gnome of Flames so that we don't apply any debuffs at all for the entirety of this fight. So he doesn't get regeneration, he doesn't make this fight more complicated than it needs to be. My officer said to not use any special attacks until I'm rooted at the very end. And it works out perfectly because our base attack damage and the Nova Flames and the Power Stings just deal so much damage that that's all we can afford is a single special 1 right here. He's going to launch his special 2, and it's going to Power Sting him all the way down. And then we just want to go ahead and get that off. Thankfully, we're able to bait a heavy attack real quick there so we don't take too much degeneration damage. Fortunately, that was the only fight we were going to take with Torch anyway, so we wouldn't need to heal later on down the road anyway. Now, this next fight, there was an alliance mate that was able to graciously send me a video on what's supposed to happen here. And basically, we're only going to hit in the cold snap phase, and when she's in the poison phase, we're going to try to hit her block to push her back so that we can stay in the sun plenty. But this was a challenging fight. I'm really grateful that practice does exist, so I was able to use a 6-star rank 3 against my own 7-star rank 4, where the numbers were somewhat similar, and I was able to kind of get the hang of it. I used my own timer to pretend like I had some sort of a hazard shift going on so I could mimic a little bit of a fight. The goal was to only push her to special 2s. Right there she gets off a special 1. Eats a little bit more time, but that's okay. And we get off our own special 2. She throws another special 1. Unfortunately, we're going to try to do a better job of baiting that. Like I was saying, we're going to try to hit her as little as possible in poison phase and just hit her block just like so. Can't always get in the sun, but thankfully it repositions every so often. So right here, we're able to finally attack her and land some hits while she's in the cold snap phase. We're going to throw another special 2, and this one will actually push her over 2 bars of power. And since we have 7 buffs, we're going to be able to convert those into glancing while we're blocking, so we don't have to worry about this special 2 at all. She's back in the poison phase, so we're going to hit block. Going to try to stand in the sun a little bit, and we're not going to launch that special 2 until we're back in the cold snap phase, thankfully. But that's not going to be enough to do it. We're going to need to throw one more special attack, And I think we push her back to 2 bars of power here again, thankfully. Well, no, she throws it. Oh well. Anyway, we're in poison. I probably should have waited to hit her block, but since we were in the corner, there's not a whole lot I could have done about that. Thankfully, I was able to dance just long enough, and then just get her in the sun. One more time, and then just throw that special 2, and it's absolutely going to lock down. And we finished that fight. Again, that one spot we had a little too much poison damage because she had us in the corner. But that's fine. So this next fight is going to be Arnim Zola. I had some fun playing against Zola in Battlegrounds this season with Karolina. So this was no new fight for me. We're just going to use a similar tactic to before with Yelena, but we're going to try to not hit her block. And we typically try to knock him down when he's about 17 charges. I've taken him with Angela, and that's what we do there too. And we're going to try to go ahead and get a special 2 off before he gets in that bleed phase. We're still going to get 2 bleed debuffs on us. And I think right here all we're going to do is 1 hit. Again, he's in the bleed phase, so we don't want to hit him, but we also don't want to hit his block. So as long as he can keep us in the sun, we're just going to handle with it. Thankfully, we get pretty frequent knockdowns, and we're never actually going to hit that threshold. However, in a situation like this, where you're going to throw your special attack, you have to pay attention even more to his Wi-Fi charges so that you don't get too many. And right there, the sun expires, so that wouldn't have been a good time to try to gamble whether or not you're going to get a passive stun. So I think right here, yeah, we don't even worry about knocking him down because that special 2 is just going to kill. So already we're 4 for 4 for this fight. After this, I went and placed White Magneto pre-fights on node 38, which was Rentra, so that an alliance mate could take it with Photon. And then later on, I reboosted, and we're going against Sentinel on tile 43. The play, anytime you're playing against Sentinel, is to push him to special 3 right off the bat, so that whenever he gets his armor up buffs, whenever he's around 20%, those don't actually push him to 3 bars because he can only activate a special 3 once. So we're going to need an invulnerability boost for that, and we're resistant to any and all incinerate that he's going to apply on his special 2 and from the node itself. So I'm trying not to have any weird interactions by trying to gain power gain while we have the Fate Seal on us. But thankfully now we're finally able to get some power. Now he's in shock. I had a lot of unlucky moments whenever he was in his shock phase that he would just apply more than he should. We're going to go ahead and throw this right here, and then we're going to block his combos and bait his heavy attack so we can push him to special 3, which is going to deal 0 damage to us, thankfully. And thankfully he doesn't hesitate too much throwing that special 3. And I think it's awesome that we finally have the skip special buttons. Unfortunately, that pushes us to 3 bars, which is going to slow this down just a little bit. Again, not worried about that. We're going to have to wait out the shock anyway. I think I hit him twice, just once here, and then that's enough to get the stun. He was cooperating for the most part in this fight until the very end. We're going to throw another special 2. That one didn't do nearly as much damage as I was wanting because we had to throw that special 3, which was somewhat disappointing. But we still have a crazy handle on this fight. You see right there, we dealt 2 hits and then 2 heavy attack hits, and then we get shocked 4 out of 4 of those hits. And then I should have waited just a little bit longer to throw that final special 2. Ended up taking a little too much shock damage, but we ended up just finishing it out with basic attacks. And no deaths taken at all, 5 out of 5, which is awesome because this came down to 1 death. We won 11 deaths to 12 deaths. So grateful to my team here. They clutched out a lot of really difficult fights at the end. Pepe gets an MVP. He's been my officer that's been planning all my fights. I'm more than grateful enough for that guy. He's amazing. I appreciate everybody on the team that made this happen. You guys are amazing. I'll see you guys in the next war. Aspect out.